Good morning, boys and girls. It is Monday, March 30th, and our 8th day of remote learning. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. So today we're going to be working on our morning message, and again, ignore where it says spelling words. Then we have Reader's Workshop. We're going to continue working on our Independent Reading Challenge. Then we have Writer's Workshop, Guided Reading, Centers. You can keep on working on that social studies project, and then we're also going to be doing pages 16 through 18 of our Maps Review packet. So for our morning message, we have another letter that we're going to fix up. So I'm going to read the letter to you, and you can listen to me read and fix it up as we go along, or you can listen to me read it a few times and fix it up, or you can do this all on your very own. So at the top, you're going to be putting the date, March 30th, 2020, and the letter goes like this. Dear wonderful writers, my favorite cereal is Lucky Charms. This cereal has small, sweet shapes mixed in with it. I like the horseshoe the best. Why do you think there is a leprechaun on the box? Sincerely yours, Mrs. Brenton. All right, when you're done fixing up that letter, I want you to write and illustrate the compound word horseshoe. Now remember, compound words are two smaller words that are smushed together to make one bigger word. And a lot of times those smaller words mean completely different things than they do when they're smushed with other words, like horse and shoe. So go ahead and draw what those different words mean all on their own. Then we're going to brainstorm a list of adjectives to describe the cake in the picture. So remember, adjectives are describing words, so we're thinking about color, shape, how it feels, how it smells, what it tastes like. Write those good describing words in the little bubbles on the worksheet. And if you can, try to think of some sparkly ones. Then I want you to think about your favorite dessert and name at least 2 adjectives to describe it. Now, for this part of your morning message, you're going to go back to that passage you read last week on penguins. And we're going to be doing a couple different activities today with that passage. First, we're going to be brainstorming the main idea and key details. So remember how we talked about that umbrella and how the main idea is basically what the entire story is about, right? And that's pretty easy to come up with in a nonfiction passage like this one. So what is this basically about in one word? Then the details are all of the things that fall in that umbrella, under that umbrella, right? All of the details that support that main idea. Then I want you to think about the vocabulary word that from this passage, flightless. What does that word mean? Write that in the lines provided. Then you're going to be brainstorming author's purpose. Why do you think the author wrote this story? Now, I drew up this little anchor chart for you guys before we parted ways, but I took a picture of it in case we would need it, and I think this is a good time to show it to you. So many of my reading groups have already seen my picture of the pie, but for those of you who haven't, remember, author's purpose is as easy as pie. Authors write for 3 main reasons: to persuade, inform, or entertain. So when an author is trying to persuade you, and remember we did this in our opinion writing, the author is writing to get you to do something or believe what they are saying. So think about that penguin passage. Is the author trying to persuade you to do anything about penguins? The other reason they might be writing it is to inform you. So this is when the author writes to give you information about a topic. Is the author writing to give you information about penguins? The other reason would be to entertain you. And this is when the author writes to tell you a story that he or she thinks you will enjoy. So is this a story? Think about it. Is the author writing about penguins to persuade, inform, or entertain? For Reader's Workshop today, you're going to be listening to a very familiar Eric Carle book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And we've been listening to a lot of Leo Leone and Eric Carle stories. So as you're listening to this one, I want you to think about how the characters in the book are similar or different from the characters in A Color of His Own by Leo Leone. How is the setting similar or different? Did you notice words or phrases that were repeated in the book? And if so, what were they? What were the stages in the life cycle of the butterfly? Can you recall them in order from the text? So Again, these are just things to be thinking about as you listen to the story. If you want to do a little bit extra work, you can, of course, open up your guided reading notebook and do some Venn diagrams or do some writing to brainstorm these ideas. Or you could make a little life cycle of the butterfly in your guided reading notebook as well. Just a little bit of extra work, something to do if you want to challenge yourself, but certainly not a requirement. For Writer's Workshop today, we're going to be continuing our important planning for our series. So last week you designed your characters, you gave them names, and you came up with a title for your series. Now we're going to continue working with that same planning sheet that you began last week. Remember that paper that you folded into 4 quarters? So here again is my planning paper, and as you can see, my work from last week, I have my characters, Sarah and Sean, and I have my series title, which is The Adventures of Sarah and Sean. Now, I am just going to keep on right below that, brainstorming the different books for my series. And I'm doing this because I want to leave the back 4 open in case I want to do more than just the minimally required amount of books, and this will give me more space to do that. So right underneath, you're going to be basically making the cover of the books for your series. And this will kind of help you to come up with different series titles and different stories for your series. So I decided that the first book of my series is going to be called The Mean Kids Next Door. So I made sure that my book title was nice and big, and I also made sure that I included my series title at the top. So I want to make sure you do the same thing. Write your series title at the top. So again, mine is The Adventures of Sarah and Sean. And then I have my book title. And each book title is going to be different, but on every book, the series title will be the same, okay? Then I want you to design your book cover. So for my first one, I have a window with those mean kids looking down at me. And then in the second one, I'm calling that book The New Neighbors. And so I have a little house for sale sign. So again, you can do whatever you want, but make sure that your book cover has something to do with the story and that you've got a good title and a different title for each book. That for guided reading, most of you who are not reading a chapter book should be picking up a new book from your packet. And those of you who are reading a chapter book can go ahead and read the next chapter, and then picking a writing prompt from your writing menu. Now I can go to this slide. So I'm going to be posting a new story on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be reading Duck on a Tractor by David Shannon. This is a favorite book of my 2 boys, and it's written by pretty much everybody's favorite author in our classroom, David Shannon, who wrote the No David series. So it's a pretty funny book, and I think you'll really like it. You can click on that YouTube link to listen to me read that story if you would like. And again, this week, be sure to stay healthy, stay helpful, and stay calm. Remember that the sooner you get your work done, you've only got 3 more days of work for me before spring break. So the sooner you get them done, the sooner you can start your spring break with me. And if it's too much for you and you want to save some of that work for those 2 days leading up to spring break, you can do that as well. I miss you guys. Have a wonderful day.